To learn how to. Okay. Okay. So I was saying about file operations. Um, when you work with a programming language, you will exactly know how to create files, how to open files, how to read, how to write, how to save, and how to search inside a file. Those kind of operations you will learn when you learn a language. But in this session, what we will do is we'll give a small introduction. So you know what is the purpose of reading, writing into the files, when it is used, why it is so important, and what are the other alternatives apart from the file, right? In old days, every programming language used to store data in local files. When databases were not so popular, reading and writing from file was the very common method. So for example, assume you have written a program to accept, say, storing the employee salary details that we discussed. And you have to collect all the employee names, addresses, his all the details, date of joining, what is his salary, how many days of say leaves he is having. So all employee related details, if you are trying to collect, the very common method was storing in a file. So I'll try to show you, share my screen and show some basic files. Let me. Tell me when you see my screen.
Yes, yes.
So we'll just give a small introduction. Okay, you will not exactly learn how to create a read write, but you will get an idea why it is used, where it is used, how the operations are performed. Okay, so sorry about the background. So what I did is I have opened Notepad. Okay, so Notepad is a text editor. Many of you will be knowing it already. So what software do you use for creating documents or files? In the other session, you're learning Word, right? So Word is also a text editor. That is more like a document editor, but we will try to create normal, simple text. See, Word will have formatting in it. What I mean, you can do bold, italic, change the font. You can make it beautiful by giving different colors, right? Background color, foreground colors. You can embed images in that. So that is a Word editor. Basically, Word is a document editor, you can tell. It provides lot of features. You can create documents with lot of formatting and lot of other functions will be there. But what Notepad, this is Notepad, okay? Notepad is a simple text editor. You'll not find options like you see here. You don't have any exhaustive options. You can't change the font. Whatever you type, it always remains in one font only. You can't make it bold, italic. You can't change the color of the text. Okay, so this is called text editors. So what is the purpose of text editor? You're not interested in beautifying the data because you're not presenting it. What you're interested is you're interested in storing the data in the computer. Okay, that's what is the objective of creating text documents. Now in olden days, I gave you the example of employee, right? Assume you're creating a program for a small organization. There are only 100 employees or 1,000 employees. So storing 100,000 is not a big complex task. You can store them in a couple of files, 1, 2, 3 files you can create and you can store. Very common technique. I'll go into how it is stored, okay? But before that, when the data is very small, your program is doing very small operations, collecting very small information, say in few hundreds, few thousands of records. You don't need any sophisticated software to store the data. You can manage with normal text files. But if you have, say, thousands, millions of records, suppose you are creating a program for collecting for a large organization, say it's a multinational or it's a big organization with 5,000, 10,000 employees, and it's not just collecting the salary details. Assume you're collecting their attendance, payroll, you're doing their maybe human resource data you're storing, or you're collecting customer data. Say that company is manufacturing and you're collecting all the raw material supply, material management. So you might collect a lot of details, right? If it is a lot of information, then collecting data in a normal text file will not be so, what do you say, so easier to manage. That time you will go with databases. Database is like it's like, army base, right? What is army base? It is a base where all the army is stationed. So same way database is, it is a base or a platform where all the data is stored. So the advantage is database is a software which will manage all your data. Instead of you storing in a file, you will ask the database to store for you. You will create tables and you will insert, read, write inside a table. Okay. It will be stored in something like, if you have seen Excel, you can visualize like Excel table where you can store in multiple rows records. So when you have a lot of data, you'll use that databases. Database comes with its own language also, because you have to interact with the database. So you may want to tell database to, hey, store this record, read this record, give me the data, insert or update one value in a particular record, or one value for all the records in a table. So to instruct a database, there is a language that is defined. It's called a fourth generation language. It's more like English only. We use select statements, we tell. We just tell select star from the table name. It will give you all the records. Okay, we'll not be learning databases, but down the line, after you learn one language, one database will be a must. Because nowadays, everybody uses databases to store the data. But in the back old days, we used files to store. We did not use databases. And we used to write programs to read and write the file ourselves, because it is very cheap, cost effective, and you can only manage. So it is important to learn this, not only for storing large data, but also for, suppose you are storing some configurations about your application. You are storing some preferences related to your own application. So in such cases, you will create your own text files. We call them as property files, config files, dat files. You can give different names to that. But however, it's just a text file. Okay, bear that in mind. It won't have any formatting. All you are doing is you are organizing your own data. Now I'll give you an example of employees detail and salary that we discussed from the previous sessions. Suppose you are trying to collect that employee detail. What generally you will do is you will create the first record, which is a heading. You will tell employee ID, for example, and you will use a comma to separate. You are telling this is my first column. I will be storing employee ID, and next column I'll be using employee name, comma, then maybe employee's age or date of birth you can tell, address you can tell, and maybe salary. Okay, and maybe a comma at the end or semicolon. You can decide. You can give a semicolon maybe. So this will be like a heading. What you are telling is I want to capture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data elements, and you will start collecting it, and you will define. You are just going with your own understanding. Okay, you are telling employee ID will always be, maybe it is a 5 character, because I'm expecting employees will grow up to 5 digits, which is 99,000. You can go up to that much, right? And so you're just telling all the first column has to be 5 digits. It's a number field and it's a 5 digit. You're just defining your own standard. You start collecting and you store it. The idea is whenever you store, you have to store with 5 digit only, and then you'll use one comma to separate it. Because when reading also, you will assume, yes, this is what I have stored, and you'll start reading back. Okay, so maybe you will tell Rajesh Jain.
We have to follow order.
Say that again.
We have to follow the order.
Yes, you have to follow, because this is my own format. I am only creating this file. I am only writing. I'll only be reading it. If I don't follow a standard, if I mix up my data, for example, I put the age here, I put the name here, I put address somewhere, I put salary somewhere, right? Then while reading, again, it will mess up. I'll not know what I am writing, what I am reading. So while storing, you have to make sure you're always storing in the right order. Okay, we'll just say 25 years. His monthly is something like this, 25,000. The address is there in address. See, this is, I'll give you one more example, but I'll tell number 56, 7th block. At the end, you'll use a semicolon. This will be treated as one record. This belongs to one employee. And you're telling these are the headings. First column is always ID, second name, age, address, and salary. In the same way, you're storing this. And say you're storing 10 records like this. You have 10 employees. So it's very important you store in a right order and read also in the same order.
Okay.
Something like that. Maybe some names you can store. Now the address can be of any length. This can be of any length. See, the key will be, we call this as separators. You have to decide what is the separator I'm going to use. What is the length of each field that I'm going to use. Sometimes I may not have control on the length. I may tell, for example, this address, right? Some addresses could be short, some addresses could be very lengthy. So many times and also this address might contain a comma in between. So depending on that, you choose what is the separator I want to use. Sometimes you can also use a special character. You can use semicolon, for example, as a separator. Okay, but most commonly they use commas. So these files are also called as comma separated value file, CSV we tell. CSV, okay, comma separated value, CSV. Comma comma separated values. Okay, this is like a very common standard. Every person, every company, everybody, whoever used to use file operations, they used commas as separators. But there were some special scenarios like address might contain a comma. So what if I put a comma here? Somebody stored it like this. Number 56, 7th block, comma Bangalore. Now what happened here? You will not know how many columns are there. You will think this is one data element, this is second column, this is another column, this is third column. These columns are more than how many I have defined on the first row, right? So while reading, you will have issues. You may read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This much, and you might stop. These two, you will not know what to read. Bangalore and these two. And additionally, in place of salary, you might get text here, 7th block. And suppose you are assuming it's a salary, you take this and you're doing some math operations like calculate the taxes or calculate some other operations. Your program will fail because you are getting a character instead of getting a number, right? So it's very important you decide what is the separator. If your data contains a comma, don't use comma as a separator. Use something else. You can use a dollar symbol, for example. It's not necessary you have to stick with only commas. We need one standard separator, but very common is commas. If you think dollar is not used in your data anywhere, use dollar. Whenever you store, you use 1,000, whatever number, dollar, then again dollar. Getting the idea?
Yes, sir.
So then you can use commas wherever you want, like this. And at the end, you use a semicolon, or also here also you can use a dollar. No issues. But the idea is you decide what you are trying to use, how many columns, separator, and if you're also fixing the length, stick to that length.
But semicolon we use as a period, right, to end the sentence, as if like period.
Yeah, semicolon is when you write programming language, semicolon is for the end of the line, okay? But here I'm talking about storing your data in a file.
Okay.
You can store it in Word document or you can store it in Excel document also. Okay, but Excel, Word, they all have special formatting. For example, you can also store it. See, the advantage of CSV is you can open CSV files in Excel. This Excel resembles your database. You have columns and you have rows. The same data you want to store here, right?
Mhm.
This file you can import into Excel. That is the advantage. Employee
So
ID.
you're storing your database in Word.
Not Word, this is a notepad. This is a
Okay.
simple notepad text editor.
Okay.
This is Word will have a lot of formatting and other options.
Right. Yes.
Right. If I go to Word, for example, I'm using a open source. So suppose you are using Word, right?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Here you can do a lot of formatting.
Mm.
You can make it bold, italic, you can change the color. Right?
Yeah,
You give
this I got it.
got it right. We are not storing data to present. We are collecting the data to store in simple way. We want to store. So we're not worried about formatting. All we are worried is I need the data, and data it should occupy less space. This one, right? The file size of this file. Let me save this. This will be in kilobytes, very small. Okay. Extension is txt file. You can save as whatever extension you want, you can give. Let me show you the size of this. See this file? You see below how many it is? Only 400 bytes. 400 bytes is like not even one simple photo that you store. But you see the size of this Word document, 12.5 KB. I just have some simple data in this. Okay. This is in kilobytes. And when you start entering formatting, it will start growing in kilobytes, megabytes. But this file will remain in simple, less than kilobytes. Okay. So we store always data as a simple text like this. No formatting, no coloring, no beautifying. Pure data, quality of data is important, not the presentation. Quality is don't mix, very clearly organize. When you write it in very clear way. Read so that you can read also back. So now I'll talk about what are different operations we do, right? First is creating a file. We call it as file write operation. You basically generally you tell open the file. First is open or create file. There are few functions that we use, and if you use a language, you will tell create file. Sometimes we tell f open. If it is a C language, if it is C++, we tell C out. Okay, there are file operations, stream operations. We tell there are input output streams. Java runs on streams, C++ runs on streams. You don't worry about those things, okay? But just for your understanding, we are just telling open a file or create a file. Those kind of commands are there, functions are there. What are those functions you learn when you learn a language? Right now, the concept is you can tell create a file. Whenever you tell create a file, you tell create file and file name. What is that? Employee data is my file, data.txt. I'm telling create one file with this name. And after creating, you'll tell open the file. Which file to open? You'll tell again open the file called employee data.txt. After opening, you'll tell write a record. What has to be written? Write a record in which file? In employee data file. This is like algorithm, okay? I'm just giving in simple English language. Logic is what is important. First step is creating. After creating, you can open the file. Then you'll start writing. And after writing, what to write in this file you are going to write. Data equal to, you will just tell all this full line, you will give it as an input. You want to write this full record, right? So you will tell write this much. Suppose you want to write all this, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 records. You keep calling this, write. You will, every time you change the data. Instead of 1, you give Rajesh, Ramesh, whatever you want. John, right?
Yes, sir.
So what it will do, it is create 4 records. And imagine this is only your text document. Where is that? This one. Okay, I'm already in the text document. I'm typing inside text only. So whenever you write this kind of functions or in the algorithm, it will keep on writing records. After writing, last is close the file. Close file employee data.txt. It will create with this much instructions. It will create this kind of a file. So far with me, any questions? How many commands we used? First is create, open, write, close.
Close 4.
So yes, after writing this, what is the next logical step? You may want to read the data, right?
Yes, sir.
But can I want one of you to tell me the steps? What will you write in an algorithm? First, what will you do?
Start.
Right? Okay, you'll start. Then
Begin and initialize.
Maybe accept or enter.
Initialize the Yeah,
Yeah,
very
those
good.
things are there, but with respect to a file, just have created a file.
Uh,
Start working on that
Open a
file. I
file.
want to delete the data.
Create file.
Yeah, you don't have to create because it already created, right? Now
Okay.
you are just opening it.
Okay, sir.
You have to
Open
open
file.
it. First time you will create.
Okay.
Once you create, file is already existing in this folder. You will tell create this file. You may also want to tell where to create also. Okay, // temp folder. In this folder, create the file. My file name is called employee data.
Employee data. Okay.
Okay, then you are telling open this file.
Open
So
this.
here, what we are doing is after you have created and written all the data, we are going to tell start reading that file. Okay, to read, first step is you have to open the file.
Yes. Open the file.
Open the file. You are telling computer first open this file. It will tell
Okay.
there are other parameters also. Okay, generally we tell open it for reading purpose or
Reading.
writing
Update.
purpose. Okay, writing update is writing purpose. Read write, or sometimes it will be read plus write also. I want to do both reading and writing. I want to keep reading here and I want to go and correct some data. So read write we tell, or you purely want to read, you can tell I want to open this file for read. Okay, you give instructions like this. Open this file for read.
Okay.
Here you will tell open this file for writing purpose. Okay. See, why
Okay.
we are telling all this is think about it. You are physically creating one file. You are trying to open. You have to tell computer open this file. What is the name of the file? Where it is existing also. You may have to give fully qualified file path we tell. Okay, you may have to tell exactly where is that file. Then only computer will know. Otherwise, it will think where is this. Generally, there is a understanding that when you don't tell the path, it will think the file is in the same folder. Wherever this program is running, it will assume the file is also in the same folder. Okay, that's why we sometimes we may not give this path, but it's a good practice. You always tell where is my file. It is in C drive, temp folder. This is a file name, and why I should open it for writing operation.
Okay.
Okay, so this is very important. The meaning, start thinking about, okay, what I am doing, I am opening, I am telling computer to open. For what purpose it will ask. Computer will ask you why I have to open this, for reading or writing, because there is something called locking mechanisms, right? What it means is, suppose there are two users, two people are working on the same computer, or two people are using same server, machine, folder. Generally,
Yes.
right, we store files in servers. And what if two people open this file at the same time? You have opened it, you are doing some write operation. Somebody else, another user also opens this file, or another program opens this, and they also start writing. What will happen? Your data and his data will all get mixed up. So we tell the computer that open this for write means it will acquire a lock. Operating system or your program will put a lock on this. It will tell, hey, I am reading. Anybody else will try to open, it will tell you cannot open this file because my program is writing this. I am working on this file. Other users, other people, other programs should not use this. Okay, there is your program itself, there can be multi-threading. So there are different, so many possibilities. The idea is you are telling acquire a lock. But when you open for reading, right, you don't want to acquire a lock. You don't have to tell, hey, I am reading, so nobody else should read. Others can also read it. But when I am writing, others can read, but others should not write. Okay, those kind of explicit commands and all you can give.
Only one record can be inserted at a time.
Yes, it's a good practice. You acquire a lock, you tell the computer, read, open this file, put a lock, so nobody else is tampering, reading. What if I am writing some data and somebody reads before that? They will get some old data, right? Or they read one record and you are writing in parallel. Whatever they are reading and what you modify, it all gets messed up. So generally we issue this kind of instructions. Okay. So first is you're telling, okay, open the file. After that, you will begin to read, correct? So you'll tell read the record. From it is right into this file. Here you'll tell read record from same this file. From this file, and you'll tell get data or get first record, then move to next record. Then again you will tell read the next record.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about these commands, okay? This is just I'm writing in English language. But what is important is steps what you perform. You have to open, then only you can read. Without opening, you can't tell, hey, start reading, read the data. If you write like this, read a record from this file. Computer will tell, where is this file? I don't know this file. First you have to open, then only you can read. Right? It's like imagine you're reading a novel. Without opening the book, without going to page number 5, can you read what is there on page 5?
No.
No, first you have to take the book, open the first page, go to open the cover, then you will start reading it. So it's the same logic here. In computers also, you're first telling open the file. And you're telling which book. Imagine this is like a novel you're reading. And you're reading line by line, right? And you may want to go to 5th page, 6th page. In this file, there is nothing like pages. Everything is a record. Even if you have millions of records, right? Like this. Do you think there is pagination here? Are we telling this is first page, this is second page, this is third page?
No, sir.
So there is no page concept here. Everything is a record. You are just telling first record, second, third, fourth. Records are at the end. When you see this is 1, 2, 5 columns are there. So you'll tell after 5th column, first record is complete. So generally, there will be one character you're not seeing here. It's called end of line, EOL. Okay. So you're not seeing here, but there is one character here. That is why there is a new line here, right? I'm hitting the enter key. Are you seeing I'm hitting enter on my keyboard?
Yes.
When I hit enter key, it goes to the cursor goes to next line. So there is that enter key you have typed here. I'll show you in Word. You'll understand this. See, when I type employee name, I'll just type some sentence here. Okay, I'll show you same data here. Do you think there is any character here at the end?
No.
Yeah, there will be a one character will be there. Okay, that's why it's called indentations. Okay, these characters. It will show. You are seeing my cursor, right? I'm enabling
Yes,
this.
sir.
When I enable, do you see this? There is one character here.
Yes, sir.
This character is called end of line.
Okay.
Every line, if you want to give a new line break, see, you type that enter key. Enter key is equal to that new line. You're seeing this last. Generally, it's not visible. We turn this off. So people will not see this. But computer understands that there is one character here. That character is called, in English terms, you can call it as EOL, end of line. Okay. In programming language, it is called as carriage return line feed, CRLF. It is two things. I'll tell you what it is. Carriage return line feed. Carriage return means if you have seen a typewriter, if you have worked on typewriters, right? In the olden days, you have seen typewriters. How many of you have seen or not seen?
Yes, sir.
Or
I
worked
have
on-
seen.
Have you
Carriage
used a typewriter?
pushes from the left to the right.
Correct. So when you use a typewriter, you will get this idea, okay, how computer is also designed. It is built on the typewriter design only. So if you see, you will have two components. One is your, suppose this is only typewriter. Assume this is your typewriter. Your barrel, or what you say, the cartridge will be on the left side. When you keep typing characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it keeps on moving step by step to the right side.
At
Okay.
the end
Here,
of the page, we should push the carriage.
exactly. So at the end, you have to push the carriage. That is, what is this term? Carriage. So there will be a small lever that you push. What it does is, carriage, meaning it will move your whole carriage from left to the right side. And after that, it will also insert one line feed so that your paper can roll one line at a time.
We'll come to the next line.
Yeah, your
We
paper
did.
will move to the next line. So two operations will happen when you type on a typewriter. There will be, usually there is 80 characters, okay, in a typewriter. Okay. Last is the 80th character. When you hit the 80, because typewriters are set based on a standard A4 format, A4 paper size. What you are seeing here, right? This generally is a A4. A4 is a standard paper size. Okay, your typewriter is manufactured to work on a A4 paper. If you give, can you give a bigger paper like a A3, or maybe assume you're a civil engineer, you're designing, you're writing blueprints. You would have seen large stationery, right? Big charts, big boards. Can you put that in your typewriter?
No, sir.
The typewriter is meant for only standard this kind of small papers, okay? A4 paper. So it is always hard coded. After 80 characters, it will hit the end, and you have to turn that lever. So it will do two operations. One is, it will, when you push the barrel, it will come back to the first line.
Yes,
Sorry,
and
first
it will.
character. And
First,
after coming to first character, wait, I'll show you like this. You're typing, right? You're typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then 11, 12. You're typing all the numbers. Once you hit the 80th position, you have reached the end of the, it will be something like this. You're almost at the, you're at the end of this paper. You can't type beyond this. So you will do two things. One, line feed, because when you do line feed, it will, cursor will come here. You can see my mouse, it will come here. But you are telling, return the carriage back to the first position. So two instructions are there. One is line
next,
feed line, and also bring it to the back to the first carriage. That is why it is called carriage return. It is written in a reverse order. CRLF, carriage return. First you return the carriage, give one line feed. That is how it will come to the next line. So this character, in different languages, it is called \n. In some languages, it is called um, mm,
Then
there
it
is a
will be
hex
new
here.
line, no?
Don't worry.
Slash
Yeah,
n.
sorry.
next line.
It's a new line, no? Slash n.
It will print
\n character used in programming to tell it is a carriage return. It's the end of line, basically. Okay. So when you're writing the files also, we put that character here. \n we enter at the end. That's how it knows I have to start with a second record. But this is all common, okay? This is all general knowledge. Don't worry about this. This is all I'm teaching you extra things. What you are going to keep in mind is, whenever you write a file, be careful you are opening the file, reading or writing, and there is no concept of pagination here. Everything is a record. So we can't tell go to 5th page and read a first line, second line. You're just telling go to line number 553 and read me that record. Go to line number 25 and read me that record. And those are the kind of instructions we give. So to go to that line, you have to keep giving more next record. Suppose you want to go to 10th record, right? You're telling open the file, read the first record, and you want 10th record. You'll give 10 instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, move to next record, next record, next record. You reach the 10th record. Then you tell, read me this record. What you'll get here, you're going to get 10th record. You can't tell here directly, read 10th record. You can't do this, okay? Because you have to go step by step. You're navigating in the file. This is only my file. You can't jump. Let me delete it. This is my file, okay? You're opening the file. Now you want to read this line. So there is no special instruction to tell computer, jump to this record, give me this record. You should tell, open the file, read all these characters. This is one record. I hit the last dollar symbol, right? See how many dollars are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I hit $5th and I get one end of line or \n, I know it is one record is done. Then I'll tell, okay, again, continue reading. Next dollar, next $5, I know this second record. Then keep reading. Another dollar. Assume this is all dollars. Okay. You have to tell computer to go in a sequential read. This is called sequential reading. You're going to hit the 10th record. You have to navigate. It's like a train. Okay. If you assume you have a train with 50 bogies and there is only one entrance, only one door in the first bogie. There are no doors and one door in the last. And the rule is you have to always climb from the beginning only, keep on moving. 10 bogies are there. You have to exit here only. So if you have to go to 5th bogie, what will you do? You can't come and directly join and take a door and get into 5th bogie. Okay, you have to go from first, second, third, keep on reading. So that's how files are maintained and that's how computer will read. So these symbols, there will be some flowchart symbols. The symbols are not so important, but understanding this concept is what is important, okay? These file operations you will use in storing properties, I told. In application, you might store some configurations, some settings, or even the data like this in this example. And if you understand this concept, then you will be able to understand the next database concept. See, the advantage of this is called CSV files. Okay, I told you, comma separated value. When you store like this, right, with some delimiter, we call this as delimiters. What is it doing? It is delimiting first data from the second data. It's avoiding it from mixing. So you're telling whenever you hit a symbol like this, I know this much data is done.
Yes.
Suppose somebody just filled without giving 5-digit, they give 3-digit number. All I'm telling is until this dollar, whatever data I get, this is the employee ID. After this dollar, till this dollar, it is my name, employee name. So the advantage is this data can be loaded directly into Excel. You're seeing Excel in the background, right? So we can load this directly into Excel. There will be import operations, okay? Import options here. There is export, you are seeing export. Same way there will be an import also. I think wizards will be there. Excel provides that, okay? Import, export. So the idea is this data you can transform into this. And once you understand this Excel, right, you know these are all columns, these are all rows. And your database resembles this. From this structure, it is very easy to load into a database. You can extract, you can load. Databases you will learn slowly, but yeah, this is a fundamental idea. Database is also organized based on this concept. Internally inside a database, it works like this only. It is only that database has its own language. We call it as a 4th generation language, right? See, you will be learning. I'll talk a little bit about the different languages so you get an idea and we'll stop there. we are starting with flowcharts. Then we are talking about algorithms. This is just a way to understand our programs. Flowchart is a diagrammatic way to understand the program, right?
Yes, sir.
Pictures and diagrams. This is
Go ahead.
English. In English language, you are writing the logic. So after this, you will start with a programming language. The same algorithm, instead of English-like language, programming is also somewhat similar to English, but with very limited words, very limited syntax and vocabulary. English,
Okay.
how many words are there in English language dictionary? Maybe thousands, maybe close to a million, right? But our programming language will not have so many. Programming language hardly will have maybe 50 keywords, 100 overall 100 instructions or function names. Okay, basic I'm telling. They nowadays they are extending it with more and more ready-made functions. Java is like everybody is able to. It's open source, right? So I'm talking about how programming languages have evolved. There's something called first generation language. So first, when computers were started, we started with
C.
microprocessor or microcontroller. X8, what was it? I'm forgetting the number, but it's something like X845, I think. I will correct this, okay? I'll let you know. This is the generation of the processor, basically. Okay, we used to have processors called X85, 86, I think it's not 84. 85, 86. These are all like very beginning days when before Pentium came, right?
Yes, sir.
Before that, we had X55, 56. Some numbers were given for these microprocessors. And it came with its own language. That is called first generation language. It is very basic instructions, okay? It had, the language was like move, 3 characters basically. Move, meaning move data. Read, write. These were the kind of instructions they used. Okay, register. These are few very common, but hardly, like I would say, some 50 words were there. Using these 50 words, you wrote the whole language, whole programs. And you had very small memory and very limited, okay, when the first generation came. Even now, everything runs on first generation. But I'll tell you what it happened. Then you came second generation. Second generation are all languages like basic language and other things. Basic, Fortran, Pascal. Then came the third generation languages. This is all like C, C++, Java. Okay. Fourth generation. See, I'll tell you what is the difference. Basic, if you see the basic language, right? It is almost like how we are writing our algorithms. This kind of read, write, move. This you had COBOL also. The instructions were English words only, very basic words. Okay. Open the file, copy the file, move the file, accept the value, display the value. Those kind of instructions were used here. Then slowly they went with C. This is more like you saw the expressions, right? Total salary equal to total salary plus salary. We wrote in the form of mathematical functions, right? So for example, here they told display this kind of instructions, okay? Read was for input. Display is for displaying, printing basically, okay? Read, write, and you had functions like sum is for adding. Difference, not difference, I think minus was the instruction. In these languages, okay, this kind of words were used. But slowly they came with third generation languages, these were little bit more crisp, shorter words. Printf, for example, or println. Print line, it is for printing a line, printing some sentence, printing and starting with a new line. Sorry, printf, scanf. These were all used in C language. Okay. C++ was C out. C out. C in is a C++ language. This kind of words were used here. And little
Perl
bit
is
syntax.
Perl is a fourth level, fourth generation language or
Perl, I have to check. Maybe it falls in the fourth only. I have to check that one. Perl and nowadays Python, AIML kind of things. But what is very famous is fourth gen is our SQL. This is what is the famous. This is the database. We uses this language, structured query language. This is very easy language. Okay, very easy. Anybody can learn this. This is like select values from a table name. That's all. It will give the full values. It will tell insert into table 1. This is for inserting the values. This is for reading the values. Update table 1. It will tell what are the values. Value 1, comma, value 2. Something like this. It has its own format. Okay. Everywhere you use a semicolon. Okay. Semicolon is very standard in all the languages to end an instruction. So what I'm trying to say is this language, fourth generation language, is what you use for reading, writing the databases. And this data is organized in the similar format. It is in the format of this, where is our, where did I, okay. It is similar to, yeah, this data, whatever you're seeing, right? File operations. All this data will store in a database like this, what you're seeing in the background. It will resemble something like an Excel table. This much will be your data. And you are using a language, you are telling, give me the record. See here, if you have to read it, you have to go one by one, keep on reading. The advantage of SQL is you are telling database. You are giving an instruction. You are just telling select star from this table where row num equal to 10. You're telling give me the 10th record. You don't have to worry about, hey, I have to navigate from here, keep on reading, reading. Then I go to 10th record. You don't have to do that. Your database will take care of it. You're telling database, give me 10th record, and it will directly give you the data. How it is doing internally, you don't have to worry. But if you are a programmer, you will know that database is not doing a magic. It is doing same file operations. Okay, that's what I explained. It will read through like this, go to the 10th record, give you the data out. Instead of you reading, you are asking database, but you also pay for the database, right? It's a very costly database. It's a costly software. You pay for using it.
okay.
But you have to learn this file operation, because that's how you'll understand how the operating systems, how the databases, how other things are all developed. File operations are very basic, very core to programming. So that's why I think this, and reports is the another topic. Probably report is like if you have to present some data, right? You can write it in a very readable, legible format. Again, there are a lot of software, like how you got databases nowadays to manage and organize all this data. Same way for reporting also, you have a lot of software to generate reports. There are software called as business object, we call BU. Okay. Business objects. There is something called Cognos. These are all for reports, generating reports. But these are all very expensive software. Okay. If you are a Microsoft person, Microsoft lover, there is something called crystal reports. I think nowadays there are other also, but these are very famous and also very expensive. But as a developer, you will not use something ready-made. You will not learn directly some paid software. Instead, you will think how these people would have developed it, how it might be running in the background. In the basic days when these were not there, in the beginning days, how we used to generate a report, how we used to print report. Those concepts you learn because you are becoming a developer, right? Someday you may join this company and you are developing this software. Someday you may join Microsoft and you may have to write these crystal reports. Instead of using this crystal report, you may be developing it. Like how you are using Excel. In your other classes, you are learning how to use Excel. Just how to use. What is this symbol? What is this underscore? What is line justification? You are learning this. How the ascending order works. All these lot of options and features, right? But assume you are a developer. You join Microsoft and you are in the MS Office development team. And your team says, hey, I want to introduce a new feature. I want to develop this feature. Whenever I click, it should sort all my data in ascending order. When I click this, it should sort in descending order. Can you write a program to take this data? I am selecting this column. I'm telling sort it in ascending. I want everything to get sorted. So suppose my data is like this. 11, this is 10, 25, 55, 66, okay? Suppose my data is like this, and this is name. Whatever. I have data also
Sir,
like this.
in-
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, in need your age of this name.
Yeah, I know. I just was repurposing. Change it as name. The age. Okay, I'll swap this. So I'll just give different data here. So suppose my requirement is if I choose this and if I hit on ascending, I have to swap everything in ascending order. See this? I'll just tell extend the selection. You see what happened? This started putting in ascending order, correct? But along with this, it also took the name, even name, it started sorting it. You can see the difference. Okay, I'll put it here somewhere. I'll do this ascending. I'll extend it. You see John 1 and John came up. 1 is associated with John. 2 is with Sudha. So Sudha went down. Take 77. 77 was here. It moved here, right? So now assume you have to write this program. So you will have to learn these concepts, okay? Don't start thinking like a developer. Don't think like end user. If you want to become a programmer, always think what logic you would have used, what steps you would have written. Because end of the day, this is again somebody like you is writing these programs. Okay, so hope one day you'll all become good programmers. So any questions? We'll pause here for today. And I think we covered a lot of file operations. And I think next 2 days, we'll use it for practicing some of the basic algorithms. Okay. I told you I'll give you some examples. I will send it to you today. Or maybe in the morning I'll send it to you. Next 2 days in the class, we'll take the time to solve that. I want each one of you, at least 2-3 people, I'll pick. You will have to walk me through the steps and I will keep putting on the screen. Because until you don't practice, you will not get these concepts. You might listen, you'll listen all these things, but you'll forget. if you don't start practicing things.
Yes, sir.
So any questions?
As for now, no questions, sir.
Okay, so I think we have covered all the basic programming concepts. It is only that you have to practice. And next week, I will ask one of the trainers to start the Java language. So you people can start learning the language, but practice this flowchart and algorithm. We'll spend some time writing algorithms tomorrow. If you know the flowchart, writing algorithm is easy. Actually, writing flowchart is what involves putting some brain. Writing it in English language as algorithm it's okay. It's not so tough. But
The
you
beginning,
have
Abdul sir suggested this W3 schools website. That's a very nice thing. They have explained very well.
yes, go through that material and take simple examples. You will practice the loops conditions, because conditions and loops is where a lot of logic and you have to start thinking, because that is where usually programmers make mistake, and that is what is the complex areas. And once you overcome that, you will be able to write like very complex conditions.
Okay, sir.
You're writing very simple, is less than, greater than, but think you have to compare the Excel sheet that I showed you. Suppose you have to check all the numbers, which is highest, which is lowest, how to put it in a right order. So there are a lot of data structures and other concepts. How do I sort the data? There are linked list. There are FIFO operations. So those things and all you learn slowly when you start learning a language. Okay. So,
Okay, sir.
but programming, I think you will be good. Sure, then I think we'll end for today, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, right? Yeah, we'll have one more class tomorrow, and we'll decide if needed. Saturday we'll again connect.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
sir.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir.